Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel if you are new. Hello, my name is V. I post nail tutorials every Thursday and Sunday at 8:15 a.m. Central Time. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your post notifications so you do not miss out on future videos, as I do enter giveaways in them randomly. I'm bringing you guys just a little bit of my Mexican culture. If you do not already know, I am Mexicana, and Mexico gained its independence September 16th of the year 1810. So I'm really excited to be doing a Mexico-inspired set for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Now let's get right into the video. Getting right into today's video, I am starting off with my old set. It's basically what they look like. Check out the video if you guys missed out. They were my birthday nails. I am taking some old cuticle nippers and just nipping off the crystals off of my nails. I typically try to do this route before I file them off, just because sometimes if you file too much over that crystal, it can heat spike. So I want to avoid filing over them as much as possible. Now I'm going to continue to struggle just a little bit trying to get these off. I'm also going to be doing the same process on my ring finger, as I have crystals on that nail as well. I always try to start with the outer corners, any crystals that are not surrounded by other crystals, just because you have kind of one side to nip at instead of trying to get to those ones in the middle. And then as you can see, I'm trying to take that big crystal off because a lot of the time they are easier to take off. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue to remove those crystals. And once I finally give up on trying to remove those with my cuticle nippers, I am moving on to my e-file. I am using my Kiara Sky rechargeable e-file for this step. I have her at about 7,000 RPMs. That's the speed that I'm comfortable with when I'm doing this step. Sometimes I put it up to 8 or 9, just depending on how much I have to remove. And I'm also using my Kiara Sky 5-in-1 bit. They have these available in a bunch of colors, so check them out. I am obsessed with this bit. I've been using it for everything. So now I'm just going in and removing the crystals that I wasn't able to nip off. And I'm just lightly going over the surface of them. Sometimes if you get them at a right angle, and you kind of just hit it from the side, they will automatically come off. Sometimes you struggle a little bit, but it's not too much of a hassle. Now I'm just removing any excess dust that I don't want. You definitely want to do this in between steps so you can see the entire nail and you don't miss any steps. Now I'm going in and removing my bit for my mandrel bit. I did place a sanding band on it. The mandrel bit along with the sanding bands are from Profiles Backstage. Everything will be linked in the description box, so make sure you guys check them out. This will help remove any extra lifting that you weren't able to remove with your 5-in-1 bit. I normally, like I said, try to remove it at that point, and any little sections that I'm not able to remove, I go ahead and use my sanding band. I do have a little bit of top coat that looks like it's lifting, so I'm just removing that from the cuticle area. I'm softly roughening up that surface of the natural nail. You want to basically etch it just slightly so that the acrylic adheres properly to it. I am using a fine bit for this, so it's not going to damage the natural nail at all. And I'm just going to go ahead and repeat that on the rest of the nails. I like to push the cuticle back gently with my bit. That's why I don't use a cuticle pusher. So I don't know if it's just me, but I find it so satisfying when the natural nail bed and the acrylic are nice and flush. They just blend so well together. I love seeing that. So now I'm going in with my needle bit. This is from Amazon. It is linked in my Amazon storefront. And I'm gently going around the cuticle area on the nail. The reason for this step is it helps remove any excess dead skin that you might have missed previously. And as you guys can see, they looked pretty clean, but now that I'm going in with my needle bit, a lot more skin comes off. So you definitely want to try this out. You will not regret it. Now taking my cuticle ball bit, this comes in a pack with that needle bit and one more bit that I'm not quite sure what happened to it. But I'm going in with this bit and gently removing that cuticle. I am lightly filing on the skin and it gently removes it. It does not hurt at all whatsoever, but it just gently buffs it off. I absolutely recommend this if you are terrified of using cuticle nippers around the cuticle. Just like I am, I definitely love using this. Once I'm done filing that off, I am going to be taking my lint-free wipe and some swipe. You can also use alcohol for this step. I just like swipe. And I'm going in and just dehydrating that nail. This also helps remove any excess dust particles or skin left behind. And it preps the nail nicely for the acrylic application. Once I'm done dehydrating the nail, I am taking my protein bond from Young Nails and doing one coat of that. If you have problems lifting, I recommend you let it dry and add a second coat to the nails. Now I'm going in with my acrylic fill, and for this process I am using Mauve About You from Not Polish. It is a really pretty nude. Along with the Not Polish acrylic brush, it is a size 12. I typically use a size 8 or a size 10, and I definitely do not mind the size difference. Now I'm going in and just applying a very small bead of acrylic in the cuticle area and blending it into the existing acrylic. I am using my Profiles monomer for this step. So a quick little tip if you are struggling with the cuticle area, if you have issues with the acrylic bleeding into your cuticle area, I definitely recommend you guys to get the bead of acrylic and place it where the growth of the acrylic is. Now if your client waits 5-6 weeks for a fill, then that might change slightly, but if you have very minimal space from the cuticle to where the acrylic is, you should be good on this step. So I am actually just rebalancing this nail because when I filed off the crystals, I did a little bit too much filing. So I am adding just a little bit more. I'm showing you here, I am applying that basically where the growth is, and then I'm pushing it up, making sure that my finger is in a downward position. This helps minimize the bleeding into the cuticle. So you want to make sure that you are focusing on that. Now I did have a little bit of bleeding because I focused a little bit too much on that left side, but I just went ahead and cleaned it up. Because once the acrylic starts setting, it doesn't bleed too much. And another thing is you do want to focus on your liquid to powder ratio, as that is definitely important. Once my acrylic is fully dry, I am going in with my e-file once again. For my finish filing, I like to keep it at about 8,000 RPMs. I'm using that same 5-in-1 bit that I used earlier, and I'm just lightly filing the surface of the nail. So whenever I do fills, I like to just focus on the cuticle area, nicely blend the acrylic to the natural nail, and then I like to hand file the rest. So I'm just going in and basically showing you that. The reason why I like the 5-in-1 bits, no matter what brand, I love the fact that it's nice and tapered in at the tip, so it goes in nicely around that cuticle area. And then you have the thicker part for the entire surface of the nail. So just a quick little reason why I am obsessed with this bit. Now that I'm all finished up with that, I'm going in with my Tammy Taylor Peel and Stick file. These hand files are my favorite. They are linked in my Amazon storefront. I'm just going in on the sides, filing, making sure that it is nice and straight. I want my shape to be super crisp. So then I go in over the surface of the nail and file that into shape. I feel like with a hand file, you absolutely do not get grooves in it as sometimes you do with the e-file. I don't know if that's just me or it happens to you guys too, but I just get a smoother finish with my hand file. So I'm gonna go ahead and repeat that on the rest of the nails. Now I did buff the nails off camera and I used my sponge buffer from Profiles Backstage, and I'm just going in again with the lint-free wipe and some swipe and cleansing that nail in preparation for my nail art. So getting started with my nail art, I am using my nail art brush from Profiles Backstage. It will be linked, I'm not quite sure which one it is. And I'm just going in with my yellow gel paint and doing 3 little dots. 1 bigger, 1 medium, and 1 smaller. I'm going to be doing flowers, so I'm placing those centers where I want the flowers to be. And then that'll kind of give me guidance on where and what size I want my petals to be. So I'm going in with my orange and I'm starting to draw my petals. This can be a really tedious process, so if you're new to nail art, be patient with yourself. I've been obsessed with the nail art side of doing nails since I started doing nails, so I definitely have put my time in on getting better and better, and even till this day, I've been doing nails for 4 years and I'm still improving every day, and sometimes I even have bad days, so don't be hard on yourself, keep practicing and you will get there. So for today's nail design, I was definitely inspired by the traditional Mexican dress. If you guys are familiar with the Mexican culture, you will know that they have that traditional embroidered, beautiful, vibrant flower detail in dresses, shirts, skirts, and so much more other stuff. And I really wanted to incorporate that into this design. I love how they look. So I got really excited to do these nails. Now, obviously, you're not going to get the detail as you would in a dress because I'm drawing it on there. Normally, you would see all the stitching and all of that, but maybe one day I will get really in depth with my nail art and try to do that. But for now, we're just going to be drawing it. So I did 1 flower that was orange, and then this one's going to be red. I'm doing different types of flowers. This one's definitely going to be a lot smaller and just more round petals. I'm doing them extremely simple, nothing crazy to them. The main thing that I am focusing on are all of the vibrant colors, just trying to add as many in there as possible without making them look tacky. So as you guys can see, I'm just going in very, very slowly, very, very carefully and drawing those little petals. You can absolutely use a dotting tool for this. My preference is just a brush, and I actually haven't used a dotting tool in a good minute. Always remember, because you are using gel paint, you want to cure it whenever you feel necessary. A lot of the time when I'm switching colors, I do cure it in the UV LED light just to make sure that none of them bleed together and everything stays nice and put while I'm doing the rest of the design. Now I also wanted to incorporate some little vines or leaf details, so that's what I'm going to be adding in here. With this design, I did not go off of anything. I looked up a photo of a dress and then I kind of just saw bits and pieces from different ones, and then I kind of made it my own. I didn't necessarily copy anything, only because the nail is a lot smaller canvas than what a dress is, so I did definitely take that into consideration. Also try to do this with other designs. Like if a client brings you in a shirt that they want you to copy, take portions of that and make it your own. You definitely want to try to be as creative as possible when it comes to nail art. It will definitely put you aside from other nail techs. So one of the things that I did notice when looking at dresses with the embroidered designs is that a lot of the time they didn't really have just tons of flowers, but they had little petals, little swirly green designs, or even just dots. So I wanted to try to incorporate all of that as best as I could. So for this step, I'm just doing tiny little leaves coming out of that green stem, and I'm doing them in pink. Now, any little areas that I found were too small for extremely detailed petals or anything like that, I just went ahead and filled it in with a color that was contrasting from the ones that were placed around it. And I just did a little dot of that. I feel like that kind of helps fill it in, and it goes perfectly with the design. Now I'm just going in and adding a little bit more details, and I'm just going to let you guys kind of watch that. Remember to fully cure your nail once you're done with the entire design. I like to put it in there for a minute just to make sure that all of the details are nice and cured. I'm moving on to my middle finger, and I'm also going to be doing that design as well, but I am mixing it up. I'm doing different petals, different design on this one, and I'm just gonna let you guys watch as I already kind of explained the majority of it. Now once I finished that top section, I decided I wanted to add a little bit more green in there, and all I'm doing is drawing 2 squiggly lines, and then I'm going from there. A lot of the time with nail art like this, it is definitely okay to do that. I wing a lot of my designs, especially when it comes to designs like this or anything abstract and absolutely crystal placements. I wing a lot of it. And of course you can always go in and fix it if you aren't happy with it, but a lot of the time you don't have to worry about that because it will look good. So I'm going in and adding tiny little petals to that stem that I drew. And then in the center, I felt like it was big enough for a flower, so I'm just adding another little flower in that area. This time I'm doing it pink. And then again, I'm gonna go in and just randomly fill in any areas with petals, lines, dots. So in this next part, I definitely got a phone call and I didn't realize it stopped recording. I didn't even see that I got a phone call, so I apologize for that. It's halfway done, but I'm basically just placing some crystals onto my ring finger and onto my pinky, and doing that by using my Young Nails brush on glue for this set and just applying a little bit wherever I want to place the crystals. And then I'm using my crystal picker tool, whatever it's called, and using that to apply them on there. And I'm just kind of layering them on that top section, and I'm trying to incorporate the colors as much as possible along with the AB iridescent crystals. A lot of these you can find on Profiles Backstage. I have a lot from years ago, so I don't have the exact sizes or companies that I got them from because I really don't remember, but I'm placing these little teardrop ones as well, just to kind of go with the rest of the design. And then for my pinky, I'm just adding a little bit more crystals as well, kind of doing a slight smile line with them. And I'm also going to be adding a teardrop to this one as well. I'm just going to let you guys kind of watch the process. Once I'm content with the crystal placement, I'm going to go ahead and top coat. I do apologize, I couldn't get away from my matte top coat, especially for this set. Whenever I'm doing nail art, especially with gel paint, you get a lot of texture from it, so when you place shiny top coat on it, you'll never get that perfect picture because the little ridges will create lines from that glare. So just a quick little reasoning why I use matte so often. And of course you want to cure this in your light. I'm using my Kiara Sky rechargeable LED light, as you can see it in the background. I'm making sure that I'm curing it for at least 2 minutes just to be safe. You only really have to cure it for 1 minute, but you guys know I like to be extra. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.